startups or be part of organizations where your role would perhaps my experience, Department of Biotechnology has a number of schemes for biotechnology related startups. So different ministries, it's not as if it is in a straight-jacketed, closed environment. Startups need all these ministries to come together synergistically and to have those programs which propel different sectoral startups focusing on different sectors. So, luckily, I will not be taking you through all of those. And you can read those lines on the slide. And that's the legal definition of startup. It was revised in 2019. So either you have a startup which is an Indian entity incorporated as a company under Indian law, or a partnership firm for a period of 10 years, number one. And it should not have hit the 100 crore milestone with regard to its revenue. Yeah. In any of the financial years. The moment you have crossed 10 years or the moment you hit the 100 crore mark revenue, you no longer are a startup. So you cross that threshold.
What about if it's two NRIs or let us say PIOs? So they are all Indians, but they are coming to India.
But citizenship is not the concern. The concern is that you should be incorporated under India.
Right.
So company law or partnership law in India. So your residency or citizenship is not a criteria for this. And then this point that this entity should be working towards innovation, development or improvement of products or processes or services. And it should be a scalable business. Now, on this proviso, you can, many clients come to us that, we are running a company and we want to have these benefits which accrue to startup. So let us split the company, let us have a subsidiary, or let us split it and have a startup which will go in a different vertical. The government has taken care of that. So if you are just simply splitting up or reconstructing an existing business so that you somehow take the benefits of the startup route, because you will see that there are some processes in terms of timelines and costs which are simplified for startups. So you can't do that. You can't hoodwink the law, let's to say. And as I said, once you cross the 10 years threshold, you cease to be a startup, or if your 100 crore revenue mark is reached. And these are just some of the initiatives. And the one I just took an example of Meiji also. And SIPP scheme is what I'll be focusing on. In fact, that's the next slide. The idea is that if you have been reading your newspapers for the last perhaps a decade or so, there has been an emphasis on creative India, innovative India. That's one of the slogans of the National IP scheme, National IP policy of 2016. One. Second, Make in India. Three, Startup India. And you will find more and more these talks, these jargons, that ease of doing business, let's have that. And or like in the style of what Mr. Trump says, make India great again. So that one of the schemes is the Startup Intellectual Property Protection Scheme, SIPP. What is this scheme? What does it do? Let us see. It has these 4 objectives. For those startups which fulfill that definition, number 1, for patent applications in particular, those are fast track for startups. So I will take you through what the patent procedure is. It's a long drawn out procedure comprising of several steps. Some of those steps are expedited when it comes to startups. So that's one benefit because we want to promote them. Number 2, there is a panel of facilitators under this SIPP scheme. They can be advocates, they can be patent agents. So they assist the startups in protecting their IP, whether it is copyright, trademark, patents, designs. These facilitators have the responsibility of guiding the startups what is the best possible manner of protecting their innovation, their products, their processes, their trade secrets, what is the best method and how to go about doing it. Filing the applications, attending to whatever the procedures and timelines are, and ensuring that whatever IP right they have applied for, trademark, copyright, patent, GIs, whatever they are, not GIs in this case, but whatever kind of IP they have applied for, they will get that. I hope it's making some sense to you guys. And this is where it gets meatier for startups. Central government bears the cost. The fun fact is not just it is an expedited procedure for startups, but the central government bears the price of the entire process of getting a patent or any other kind of IPR. As IP facilitators, some of us are in the firm, we are not supposed to charge the startup. The startup only bears the government fee or the statutory fee for getting the IP right. That is why that whole agenda that some companies want to hoodwink the law, they want to restructure themselves, or they want to split and then take up the startup route because it's faster, it's easier, it's cheaper. But here, central government says under the SIPP scheme, whatever facilitators are there, they don't charge, we pay the facilitators. So that's easier for startups. Because we don't want to have this added cost as a burden to them. They are actually anyway working under tight budgets and timelines. And then of course, it is also cheaper because even with the government fee, there are as much as 80% rebates which are offered. So statutory rebates in the prosecution procedure. Some of these things will make sense to you when this piece is called together, when I tell you the process of getting a patent grant. I hope this much is making sense to you. I'll keep asking this. And these are the functions of the facilitators. I think I'm going to skip this. In case you guys want to read, main, or record. Essentially, you provide them advice, more of explaining bit when it comes to the process. May I read the slide? There are international patent applications also. I'll come to that. There are international trademark applications also. Yeah. And then there's just a brief about his national IP policy. I will take you to the objectives of this. Because IP rights are so important, and I will give you the data as to where we stand when it comes to IP filings in respect of patents particularly. These IP rights are an important indicator, not the sole indicator, but nevertheless an important indicator of the kind of innovation that we have, where we stand when it comes to innovation, where we stand when it comes to licensing our innovations to others and thereby earning income from those license fees that others will pay to us. So for that to start to make this culture of innovation possible, culture of patenting possible, the National IP Policy in 2016 came out with 7 or 8 objectives. 1, IP awareness, outreach and promotion, part of what we are doing today here. Generation of IPRs. legal and legislative framework. We have a lot of laws on each kind of IPR and administration and management. So as part of this, you have an IP office in Dwarka Sector 14 itself. The government has tried to increase the manpower from the time when I started in 2010. My first patent application took 7 years to grant. A client had come to us and 7, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, this was a normal timeline that it took for a patent to be granted. Now you can get, I think the record for the fastest patent granted to a startup is somewhere around 9 months. So that time has come down to 2 to 3 years. Why? Because proper administration, adoption of IT, increasing the manpower, allocating more budget to the IP office, and training of those IP officers. Commercialization of IP, I'll give some emphasis on this. As I was talking to your professors, just because you have a property, just because you have a physical property or house, for example, you will pay taxes for that, the municipal taxes, house tax. You are not, if you're not living there or if you are not giving it on rent, it is basically a white element. If you have a degree or a certificate or a diploma and you are not earning, white element, you had an input cost, but you're not getting anything. That ROI that you manage is also form of return on investment. So commercialize your IP so that it makes money for you. That's how you get paid for your intellect. Enforcement and adjudication, that's my domain. Law, litigation. We have made some changes to the laws also. Although as the best advice that any litigator can give to a client is don't litigate in India. It's really long. But I'll come to that when we do that last slide. And human capital development. We teach people, we create awareness, we create a better class of administrators for the IP offices. We tell the bureaucrats also why this is important, the teachers. Some of those policies, as your director ma'am was saying, the university is also instituting to emphasize on acquisition of IPs by the faculty, by the researchers. Now, what is this IP? After I just want to give you an overview of what are startups and why IP is important. What is this IP? Yeah, do you guys have any idea about what is IPR in case? I don't know if it has been part of your curriculum or ever taught to you.
Yes, there is part of it.
It's part of curriculum. So do the students know?
Human
Intellectual property rights,
What is intellectual property?
goodwill,
trademark,
goodwill,
patent,
Telling
copyright.
the types of IPRs. But if I ask you what is an IPR, what do you say? Or maybe in one line or so. Try a lot.
over the years, the name of the person, values are taken by some, are मतलब कहते हैं लोकप्रिय जितना ज्यादा हो जाता है फिर जाने के बाद भी
But that's not the only IPR. Personality, right?
Sir, if I'm a professor, but I don't know what is IP. Let me attempt. I think an IP is something which has been created by me using my intellect. I believe that I have personal right over that domain which I created without resorting to copying or anything. If you
Yes,
are doing something-
essentially, yes.
Any kind of creative work, be it any kind of song written, as a lyricist, as a story writer, any play written, any kind of intellectual work that has been through my creative mind, be
Yes.
contributing to intellectual property of mine.
Yes.
Reserving exclusivity.
Yes, absolutely yes. You guys are students.
Yeah.
So there are three words that we were taught, three words. Rights, you all have rights. You have right to vote, right to life, freedom of speech, right to your claim, your freedom. Your parents can write a will and change your legal status also. The right is a power also. कुछ आपको मिला या कुछ भी नहीं मिला. So, rights, property you all understand, which is mine, exclusive to me. An area of land or a pen or a watch, that is with me. And intellectual, the brain, all of us, what separates us from other animals, we are also animals, but we are better social animals, intellect. So creations of human intellect, which creations are our own. I spend my time, my skill, my labor, my intellectual labor to create something of my own, which is a kind of a property, a special kind of property which I can't see or feel. Because you can see or feel a physical book, but the copyright in that book, you can buy a copy of the book, any novel, anything. But that book, 100 copies are there, 100 people will have the property over the physical book, but the story inside, the diagrams inside, somebody else has copyright over it. You can touch the words, but you can't touch the story. It's an abstract concept. You can have your phones, Android, iPhones, whatever they are. But there are lakhs and lakhs of patents embedded in those phones, technologies. So you have the physical phone, nobody can see it from you, but the underlying technology running each one of those phones has been created by somebody else. That's also a kind of property which you can't touch, see, feel. An abstract kind of property, creation of somebody's intellect, over which you have exclusive rights, monopoly rights, that nobody without your permission can use your IPR. If they do it without your permission, they are infringing. If they want to use it without your permission, they have to take a license. And that's how you make money, by selling your intellectual creations. This is clear. And these IPRs are everywhere. Everywhere. You've been to us. There was this movie, Yatra Tatra Savatra. IPRs are like Ankhen. He trains blind people to walk the plank. Today we call our economy is knowledge economy. Because more than our physical assets, our intellectual assets are important, increasingly important. And whatever thing you touch, your newspapers, your books, your dictionaries, your pens, there can be IPR present in any of them, all of them. So you can perhaps just read those. The drugs, the chipsets. You are aware of this. There is a fight to become self-reliant in the chip manufacturing industry also, because of what happened with deep sea carbon. You are reading those things. So now the government has come up with a mission AI. They want to fabricate chips in India. So everywhere, in the kitchen also. That lady uses that in the film, Mrs. Also in the champagne. I would advise, if you are not of the right age, don't have. Can I change the slide? And this. The idea behind granting IPRs is that we believe, or the theory is, the jurisprudential aspect of it is that if we reward our innovators and creators, it will encourage more and more people to ideate, to create, to innovate. So the overall creativity and innovation in the society will increase, and it will have ripple effects. Because when you create something, when you innovate, you perhaps propel an entire industry around it. Like, for example, your cotton spinning jenny and the steam engine led to the Industrial Revolution. Now we are in the middle of an AI revolution. So you create industries out of your innovations, you create jobs out of your innovation, and then the overall living standards of the society increase because they have better products, more creativity, and more money. So to that extent, all IP rights have a socio-economic function to perform. It's not just to give you monopoly rights where you can make money. There is a deep underlying socio-economic role that all IPRs, and therefore, as one of the judges of Delhi High Court says, we have to go towards responsible IP, which is more conducive to our needs, which is what government is also promoting today. For example, National Dairy Research Institute or IARI, Indian Agriculture Research Institute, they have become agri-incubators. They license technologies created by the professors there to agri startups. They also help agri startups and other non-startup agricultural companies, also innovators, also to get patents. They become facilitation centers for acquisition of IPRs. Because agri startups are important for us. IT-based startups are important for us. Development in AI, semiconductor technologies is important for us. So responsible IP, what we need, so as to ensure the growth of the human society. I hope you guys are also able to read cyber. Don't really rely on that content. That's more for you guys. May I? I hope you guys are able to. And some of you were pointing out, this is not just one IP. Intellectual property rights is an umbrella term. There are as many as 7 different categories of IPR. And this has come, these 7 categories, they have come from something that you might have heard of. It's a treaty called World Trade Organization, WTO, TRIPS, trade related aspects of intellectual property rights. So TRIPS for the first time enumerated these 7 categories of IPR. It was ratified way back in 1994 and we became completely compliant with TRIPS in 2005. So copyright, you have copyright what you have in your novels, question papers, articles, journal articles, newspaper articles, maps, anything which is literary work, dramatic work, performance rights under the umbrella of copyright law. Then you have trademarks, where your aspects of goodwill, your Nike, your Adidas, or small traders also have their trademarks, like one of our clients' trademarks, Resigla. You would not have heard of it. It's a small time businessman. You have a trademark or a business goodwill, you protect whatever goods are under that term of the trademark, manufactured or sold under that trademark. They signify that this is the trader who has assured us of a particular quality, whose goods bear this trademark. We would like to buy this again and again. Okay. So trademark is a source identifier. Over a period of time, you have invested in the quality of your goods and services. And people like those products. They want to go back to buying those products again and again with the assurance that this particular goods or services will have a particular level of quality that I can afford. And others, your competitors, should not be able to sell under the same trademark, should not be able to shortcut your goodwill, should not be able to create counterfeit goods of poor quality which you can't control and sell under similar or identical trademarks, because that will be an infringement. So trademarks. This may be very, very valuable when you go and join your companies. Every company has emphasizes or gives a lot of importance to its trademarks. Third, patents, which we will do in some detail today. Geographical indications like your Darjeeling tea, Tirupati laddu,
Recipes.
Banarsi sari.
Recipes.
Recipes.
How many times you have gone for shopping with?
It was Valentine's Day last week, so
That's also getting recorded by.
no controversy.
And you have industrial designs. The interface of your mobile phones or the way these chairs are designed, something which appeals to the eye. I'll give you an example here in the slides. So that. And then 6th category of IP is your trade secret or undisclosed information. This is very, very important. Yes, absolutely. The formula of paints, colors, recipes of food, Coca-Cola, KFC. And there are anything which is important for your business, your client information, your client list, the kind of products that you are going to launch in the future, or your license agreements, how much money you are paying to whom. Why should your competitor know what kind of licensing agreements and licensing terms or prices that you have? So this is something which is very important for all businesses, trade secrets. And we are protected by non-disclosure agreements or contractual laws. So we won't be able to doing that today so much unless you have some specific questions to ask. And seventh is the layout designs of integrated circuit. This is a special kind of IP for the IC chips of the computer, how the topographies are designed. So these 7 categories of IPR, I'll give you some examples of these, perhaps understand. This is what it is. CR7, those of you who like to solve. Bata, by the way, was is the name of the Czech national Tomáš Bata came to India and set up the Bata company. Many people we think it is an Indian company set up by a foreigner, Tomáš Bata. That's my half meter as well. So this is design. That's one of those Tesla trucks, the Cybertruck. Something which is not functional, something which is ornamental, adds to the appeal of a product so that people buy it. So not technology driven, because technology is the domain of patents. Not logo driven, logo and names, goodwill, that is all trademarks. Something in the shape of things which adds to the eye appeal. Designs. And then these are patents, very boring technical. This is how your patent database looks like when you go to the Indian Patent Office website. This is from CSIR patent. Do I need it or not? You have the patent number, the year of the patent, and Council of Scientific Research that applied for this patent. Might not be very relevant for you guys. Anyway. One of my favorite parts. Why do we emphasize so much on this? Can you guys read that data? These are the patent filing trends in India. And you would see that since 2018, 2019, till 2020 to 23, last year, of course, this is from the annual report of the Controller General of Patent Designs and Trademark, the officer in charge of the Indian Intellectual Property Office. So for 23-24, there have been newspaper reports, although there is no annual report, official government annual report, that almost 1 lakh patents have been granted. But this is the data of patent filings in India. This is something crucial because it reveals a lot. From 2018-19, you will see that the total number of patents filed in India, I'm not talking about granted patents, 50,659. 50,000. To 20 to 23, around 82,800 patents were filed. These were filed, not granted. Granted patents are less. I'm saying why that is so. And if you look at this data here, total number of Indians who were filing patents in India. Way back in 1890, only 17,000. Less than half of the patent filings in India, 50,000 patents filed, half of that would be around 25,000. 17,000 applicants for patents in India were Indians. Whether you take into account Indian startups, it was still good, 801. Whether you take natural persons, individuals, whether you take small entities, educational institutions, 0. Or whether you take other than natural persons, which is your big corporations and companies. So you have small entities, MSMEs, micro, small and medium-sized enterprises. You have academic institutions. Today we also have women entrepreneurs. Government is promoting them also. So you start from there till at least 2021-22, which was as good as 2 or 3 years ago. Consistently, the trend was that the filings by Indians has been less than half of the total number of patent filings in India. But because of these policies, because of the national IP policy, because of the emphasis on patents, filing of patents, because grant hota hoga pehle file to karo. So, your first time, approximately 20 to 23, you had 43,000. We crossed the 50% threshold. So more Indian applicants were filing patents than their foreign counterparts. And likewise, you can see the same increment, apart from the minor blip, in the start of the filing from 801 to 2,000 patents have been filed by Indian startups, which would be companies incorporated under Indian laws, partnership firms incorporated under Indian laws.
That's it.
Now, this is also another revealing data. Under Indian patent law, patent filings were 82,000 something. How many patents are granted and how many patents are actually worked? Because you may have a house, but you may not live in it. Useless, divide it. Now, Indian law mandates that you give working statements as to how many patents are actually worked in the territory of India. Now, because of a variety of considerations, and I will not bother you with those, this has been diluted. Earlier, it was every year you had to give patent working data. Now it is once every 3 years. There were some political reasons also, some lobbying also, but let's not go there. But anyway, we have data till 22-23, the official data. This is the patent office speaking. So patents in force, okay. So nearly 1 lakh patents were granted in 23-24. Now patent granted in 22-23 were 34,000. So you had 82,000 applications filed, but 34,000 patents were granted. And patents which were owned by Indians, out of those 34,000 patents, approximately 9,000 patents, 9239 patents were granted to Indians. It is very less. Way less than even half. Now, if you look at the total number of patents, a patent has a life of 20 years from the date of filing. 20 साल के बाद whatever is patented falls in public domain. So, patents which were actually in existence, like for example, I give you something like your student intake for BBA might be 50, but if it is a 4-year course, at any point of time, you will have 200 students. Because 50 first year, 50 second year, 50 third year, 54 year. So patents granted were 34,000, but patents in force in India, all the live patents which were there in the Indian ecosystem were 1,37,000, out of which Indians own 26,000 only. This figure of 26,000 includes your individuals, your startups, your big companies, your MSMEs, your educational institutions. It's a very small percentage. That's why we need this kind of impetus, this kind of emphasis on these policies. Today, of course, these things have changed, but more tellingly, the patents in force being 1,37,000, Form 27, the working statements were filed for 4,700 and only 560 patents were reported as working in India. That's a very poor scenario for any country. Many companies do not file, so there are some background things that you need to understand for this. Many companies choose not to file a working statement because they think it is a burdensome requirement. Many companies lie in their patent statements, working statements, so you have to discount these facts. But all said and done, for 1,30,000 patents in force in India, 560 working statements of actual working in India is actually very poor. That is why we have these kind of seminars, we have these kind of policies and schemes. And why it is also relevant to you, because if some weirdo like Donald Trump comes to power in US and imposes a tariff regime on you, you should have the ability to stand the shock. And these are the kind of things that maybe when you become managers, wherever you work, guys, go in whatever vertical, whatever level of position, somewhere you will have to encounter these things. And now let us also compare how other big three are doing. How is China doing? Because we want to emerge as a China plus one option, in case you have been reading those marketing news and all. We want to after the COVID pandemic and the ideological warfare between US and China, India wants to position itself as a China plus one country. We are also there. Let's make India a manufacturing hub. Let us see how much IP filings are being done by China, US and Japan. These are the findings. China filed 16 lakh patent applications in 2023. USA filed 5,98,000, Japan 3 lakhs. We filed 82,000 in the same 2022-23 period. I'm not taking into account 24 because I don't have the official data, only the newspaper reports. We want to compete with that because that's important for our industry. You, from makers of generics, from users of technology, from licensees, it is important that our businesses take the lead of becoming innovators, of becoming licensors, of becoming producers of IP knowledge. It's not going to happen in 1 year or 2 years. It takes an entire ecosystem to work together to make that happen. But I will only focus on patent law, not the entire ecosystem. So now I will focus increasingly, I'll bring my focus onto patents because the entire ecosystem will also include labor laws and all those anti-corruption laws. Very scared of those. Not my domain. You can imagine.
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry.
We can.
No, no, you can answer.
I'll have to do it. In the real court, my opposite side counsel, if I was arguing for so long, would have interrupted me on every statement, countering me, interrupting me. So I should be grateful. Lawyers are very happy to talk. And for so long, absolutely fine. So, before I go to that standards of what are the criteria for getting a patent and what is the process, certain myths, which we always do as a firm, I do as an individual whenever we go. Now, one thing that many clients, many individuals, many organizations, including academic organizations, they feel these kind of myths, they have these questions in their mind. And our first task is to dispel these myths. Now, can there be, number one, a universal patent, an international patent, a global patent? No. Patent rights, all IP rights are territorial. You have to apply in a particular country and get the patent. When we speak to our clients, they have legal teams which understand these things, and then they have management teams. We love managers and lawyers because they say, why can't you guys do it? You guys are asking us to go for too much regulatory compliance. Cut through this. We are paying you money for this. I can't cut through the law unless you want to be behind bars. So, but in which case I get to make more money because then I'll apply for the patent.
Molecule developed in US and they haven't pharmaceutical, they haven't patented that in India. You can copy it.
Yes. So patent rights are territorial. You can find an international application. We have some treaties today, like Paris Convention and Patent Cooperation Treaty. So you can find an international application, try to enter multiple jurisdictions, but the final decision of whether to grant a patent or a trademark or not is of the individual IP office of the country concerned as per their laws. One. Second, this is also a problem we were just discussing. Many people think that simply filing a patent application, or if your patent application is published by the patent office, that's fine, you've got a patent or something to be proud of. No. During the entire process of trademark filing or patent filing or filing of designs, several applications will be refused, rejected, or abandoned by clients for a variety of reasons. Strategic reasons, and oversight, they did not pay attention to it, or monetary reasons also, they don't have the funds to pursue the prosecution of the patent application. So, and I'll give you an example of this. Okay, I'll give you an example which I do with the first years if I ever go and teach them law. An example that will probably touch base with you guys. Simply taking an admission in a college. is not enough. Just because you have taken admission in a college doesn't mean you will automatically get a degree. There is a 2-year, 3-year, 4-year process for it, and you have to qualify, have certain attendance. I'm sorry, I don't want to sound very bad while saying this. I hope all of you get your degrees. So there's a process, you have to give exams. Likewise. Another thing, another example I can give you here. There are two things. If, for example, your college mandates that for sitting for your exam, you need to have, say, 75% attendance, and you need to have 21 years of age, and you need to have some other criteria, and then you can sit for your exam. The exams checks your ability, ability, how good you are, whether you know your subject or not. Now, if you sit in that exam, you have 75% attendance, 21 years of age. You satisfy by writing the exam to your teacher that you have the ability, you get the paper. But suppose you did not have 75% attendance, so you are not 21 years of age. You are a superb student. You are a genius, but you are 19 years of age. Will you be allowed to sit for that exam? No, because you lack eligibility. And why these terms are important, we'll get to know in a couple of slides. Another one of my favorites, as I said with the data, patents is not a jadoo kichhadi or a magic wand that you have more patents and suddenly there will be innovation in the society. No. As I demonstrated through that data, for building a culture of innovation, you have to focus on a lot of bases, right from the school, right from the society, build a culture of innovation, which we are trying to do now. Earlier also we have done. So you have this national education policy and the Atal incubation, Atal tinkering lab in schools, Atal incubation centers. So, and also very important, research spending. And I will give you an example of that. You would have realized that this AI has suddenly come out of the air, or that only US could do it. But I was reading, this was an article in Mint, that when DeepSeek R1 came, the world took notice because that Sam Altman had come a couple of years back in India and he said that you guys are hopeless, India and China should give up. You don't have the kind of money or the infrastructure that we have to build AI models, the large language models. But DeepSeek R1 said that we have done it in a fraction of the cost. But Samsung, the piece of information was Samsung or some other companies in China, they were investing in this technology or trying to come up to terms with this semiconductor chips, that small 4 nanometer or lesser chips that you need to power your LLMs since 1990s. So it needs like 10, 15 years of search, of work, of what do you call that? Vision. So you need that vision for 10, 15 years and you need to put in that money to create an innovative society, to ensure that patents are not just to embellish your CVs, that lawyers, oh, I've done this, I've done that. No, you commercialize that. And then one of my favorites, because we represent so many, by the way, we also are a firm which is famous or infamous for representing Chinese dependents. So all the Chinese mobile phone makers are our clients. And because we are the defendants, frequently we end up challenging patents. So this is one of my favorite aspects. Grant of a patent. Many times you will think, oh, grant ho gaya mere ko patent ka, now nobody can take it away from me. No. Another example from academics, suppose you have obtained your degree by fraud. The moment your fraud is caught on, the degree will be taken away. Same way, grant of a patent is not sacrosanct. A patent can be invalidated at any point of time in its life. Because it's such an important monopoly, we don't want to give wrong patents or poor quality patents. And what was my time limit? Okay. And this is kind of related with commercialization of patent. Your research, my PhD guy told me, your PhD Don't spend too much time on it. Don't think, don't get scared. Don't try to make it the best result of your thing of your life, because it's not the end of your journey as a researcher, it's the start. I can see smiles on the faces of the teachers there, but I've undergone that torture. But anyway, patent is not the end of it. It's the end of the journey of research, but it's not the final reward. The final reward is how you monetize your patents, how you sell your patents license. So with this now, this is something that you can see there. Patent rights are monopoly rights, as somebody has rightly said, exclusive rights. They are statutory rights. You have a Patents Act which gives you that right. There are certain exceptions, should not concern you. And there are a subset of IP rights. They are territorial rights, as I just said. Each country has its own patent system. Temporal rights, because time limitation, patent is granted for 20 years. And a patent, the most simplistic definition is a patent is a techno-legal document. A patent signifies what you have invented and what kind of right you have. And you can just read it because I have been harping about this for these couple of seconds and change slide. Yeah. I think this may not be relevant for our purposes. This is what your director ma'am was asking me. What are the criteria? I think I understood the question correctly. What are the criteria of grant? And it's not as if, first of all, another thing, many people think, oh, I have a wonderful idea, let's get a patent. No. You have to create an embodiment of your idea. You have to go beyond the realm of idea. And this is where that example of your ability and eligibility will come, because you have to demonstrate these 5 things being present in your patent application if you want to get a patent granted. One is novelty, you have done something new which has never been done before. One is inventive step, you have actually invented something which is not just a workshop improvement which anybody could have done. And industrial applicability, that people have some real life industrial use for your patents. And these 3 criteria of novelty, inventive step and industrial applicability are called the patentability criteria. And then you have some eligibility criteria which are peculiar to Indian law because of certain public policy concerns. Because in the domain of pharmaceuticals, for example, we do not permit, no matter how novel, inventive or amazing your invention is, we will not grant you a patent. For example, we don't give animal patents, genetically modified animals and plants, we don't give patents over them. US does.
Sir, Tulsi has a patent also.
That's the case of 505AC. We do not give patents over traditional knowledge. In fact, the Tulsi and the neem, turmeric, all these cases, they are instances of 505AC. We have a special task force under the CSIR and a special library, TKDA, Traditional Knowledge Digital Library. It's one of the agendas of the Indian government to ensure that outside India also our traditional knowledge is not misappropriated, does not become subject matter of patents, because that is ours. And nobody can patent traditional knowledge.
Even for seeds?
For seeds, we grant patent, but there are some rules for it. There are some rules. There is the distinction between plant varieties and what kind of seeds, the kind of modifications that you have done.
They don't allow you to take
Light
seeds from the country.
Only lights.
So eligibility, and the last is disclosure or written description. So you file a form, you fill up a form, you describe your invention, you give the data. That is why ideas are not protected. You show, you demonstrate how you came about that invention, what kind of research you undertook in the laboratory, why you are better than what was happening in the prior art, what was happening earlier, how you have improved upon that. So you give data, lab results, and that all you give in your disclosure or written description. So these 5 criteria, if you satisfy, and these are criteria which are common to all applicants, whether you are a woman entrepreneur, whether you are a startup, whether you are an academic institution, whether you are a big corporation or whether you are an MSME, the criteria apply. And within these criteria, it's not so simple, there are different rules, which is where we come in. And we will not go to marriages with that, because then that will be what you teach in an entire patent syllabus or an IP syllabus. But long story short, these are the 5 criteria of grant of patents. And this is the grant procedure. And As I said, it's not as if it's not a matter of right. You go and you give, I want a patent for my idea. No. This procedure. And this is why many patents which will be filed may not get granted. Because the patent application will be filed, it will be published, it will be examined by the patent office. The patent office examiner, just like your teachers, when I give you that example of a university exam, your teachers are the gatekeepers who check whether you have the ability, the eligibility to qualify as an MD or BD or whatever course you are pursuing. Likewise, the patent examiner checks every patent application of whatever domains. It could be automobile, biotechnology, pharmaceutical, IT related, electronics or telecom related. They check as per their domain expertise whether you are satisfying those 5 criteria, whether you are fulfilling some other procedural requirements of forms and fees. And then there is a proper examination process. They generate an examination report to which you as lawyers, not you guys, but to which lawyers or agents have to reply. If there are some objections, you have to satisfy why those objections should be done away with, why the patent application should be granted. Once that you cross, you get your patent application. That application is granted, the fact of grant is also published. And in between you will see some oppositions are written. Your competitors can also oppose the grant of patent to you when it is at the application stage, the green box, or after the grant of patent within 1 year also, they can file oppositions against you saying it's a poor quality patent, it's a patent which is not eligible, which should not have been granted, which is not novel or does not have an inventive step. So they have to give evidence. It's a lot of paperwork and evidence, a lot of law is there in that. So they can oppose it. And because I said a patent once granted can be revoked at any time if it is of a poor quality. So there are revocation procedures also, there are counterclaims also which we do for our clients. But as managers also, you should know at least an overview of this. So that tomorrow you don't rush lawyers like me into filing and going those timelines. We can't create a bouquet of IP filings for you guys. I'm sorry, managers against my The toughest part of a client call is to answer to the managers. Oh, and one more thing. So as I told you in the beginning, that SIPP scheme, there's a cost reduction, yes, but this entire procedure is also expedited. So for normal applications, they will have to go through this route. But for startups, and increasingly for women innovators and academic institutions, they have something known as expedited examination. So there will be a special cell focusing on it to expedite it. The rigors will not be diluted. The checks will be the same. It will just be faster. आप लोग बोर तो नहीं हो रहे? Have I been going for too long? I have no idea of time. I hope it's interesting for the students. So you can give your reviews and also be mindful that it's getting live recorded. So if you say something bad, the university can, like Uncle Sam, come behind you and say, the good news for you is that you have just 2 more slides. And this is where I come with the licensing part. As I said, commercialization is crucial. And as I gave the example of the property, you either sell your house, which is an assignment, you sell it off, or you license it, you give it on rent. So you license your patents or your IP rights, and you make money out of it. And in STP and FRANC litigations, this is where we come into play. There is something known as standard essential patents. I'll not bore you with the explanation of that, but these are the patents which drive your entire mobile telephone. And that is where we have the Chinese clients. So, and I'll give you this example which should hit home more. There are many innovator companies in the world whose names probably you might not have heard. In fact, I also heard those names for the first time when I was doing these litigations. So who makes this possible that, even if you have an iPhone or a Xiaomi phone or a Vivo phone or an Oppo phone, you are still able to make calls across networks. You can make a call to a landline. You can make a call to a phone of a different manufacturer. You can make a call from a 2G phone, 3G phone, the box phone to a smartphone or a 5G enabled phone. Interoperability. Or you can use the same pen drive across all devices, this laptop or that laptop or your smart TVs, because these are standardized technologies. technologies, and somebody has patents over the standardized technologies. And all manufacturers of mobile phones need licenses for the innovators. The innovators are generally Philips, Nokia, InterDigital, Dolby, the Dolby surround sound. And the implementers are Xiaomi, Vivo, Apple, Samsung, Huawei. And this is where knowing the nuances, the laws of licensing, because once I'm sitting over a patent portfolio, I want to monopolize it. So what are the do's and don'ts? What are the kind of checks and systems that both the parties have to bear in mind? That informs the licensing negotiations. And this is what we do for our clients. So this, I don't bore you with the licensing negotiations themselves. And then litigations. Today, one of the reasons this whole ecosystem was the Commercial Code Act 2015, which has defined again specific timelines for commercial disputes in India. It cannot be kisano saal chale aa rahe hain disputes. So now we have Commercial Code Act with very strict expedited timelines, so as to ensure that commercial disputes, which includes IP disputes, patent disputes, they are solved on a priority basis. They are fast tracked. Although again there are some systemic delays there also. And then we increasingly have something known as alternate dispute resolution, the mediation and arbitration. So we always encourage parties that mediate, try to solve the disputes on your own. And to do that, you need to know the nuances of licensing negotiations, the legal nuances, the technical nuances, the economic nuances. And why this is important for our startups is because they need to know that if a company like Apple, Samsung, Xiaomi is negotiating against Philips or InterDigital or Nokia or Dolby, these are big corporations. They have the ability to have technical experts, economic experts to guide them through entire series of negotiations and lawyers. But how will a startup afford that? The government will enable you to get a patent, but how will you license without knowing these dynamics, without having the ability to afford those kind of technical experts or economic experts or lawyers? That's a question mark. But then we again have these kind of awareness programs for these things. And that's about it. Thank you. Thank you for participating with me. I hope I didn't bore you too much. And maybe she can start.
So thank you, sir, for such an insightful session and sharing your invaluable insights and experiences with us today. So now we welcome Ms. Rimjim Kamboj, our college alumni from the batch of 2016 to 2018, and our guest today, a creative maverick with over 18 years of experience in digital marketing, branding, and social media strategy, currently potentially building Nimbo Nexus, a dynamic agency. Ms. Rimjim specializes in crafting, compiling brand narratives, executing high-impact marketing strategies, and digital growth. So we welcome you, ma'am. Please come on stage. The platform is all yours.
Thanks so much. So, hi, hello everybody. I actually don't feel like I'm going to give a lecture. I'm so sorry because this is my college and I feel I'm back in my college days. It's really, really great to be here and thank you so much for having me. So, my name is Rimjim Kamboj and I am from the batch of 2016-18 MBA. And after that, I started my journey with. Can I have the mic, please? So that I can perform this one stage. Okay, all right. So I started my journey as a marketing executive, and I later on entered as again a marketing executive into Ministry of Textiles. I work with Central Cottage. If you've been to Janpat, so you can see Central Cottage on the metro station gate itself. That's under Ministry of Textiles. I've worked there for more than like almost 2 years there. After that, I worked with a corporate firm as a creative and branding manager. With that, I actually built a new brand, that is a jewelry brand that is named Amalfa. With the co-founders, I built that brand. And after the journey of 8 years, I realized I could, fill the gap that is in the market of creating content with imaginative and, building powerful strategies. So I started off on the journey of building my own startup, which is Nibu Nexus. And it is a creative agency. I don't call it a digital marketing agency because when I say it is a creative agency, it actually means I am going out to give digital marketing services as well as creative services, which actually mean we build campaigns. All right, we do lifestyle shoots, we do model shoots, we do product shoots, we do all kind of stuff, and that is not just digital marketing. All right, so I'll just start my slide and. Okay, so starting your own startup, the what, why, and how. I hope I am audible to everybody.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, so what is a startup? Can anybody help me with that? What is actually a startup?
New idea of doing something.
Okay, all right.
Business.
Innovation.
Yeah, innovation could be one. What else?
Initiative.
Initiative. Okay. What else?
And innovating something that is already in the market into a new idea or a new product which is not available.
Yeah, a new idea. What do you think? Giving a new idea. Yeah, that would be one, obviously. Okay. Tanushree ma'am, मेरे को ना अभी सच्ची में ऐसा लग रहा है कि मैं प्रेजेंटेशन दूंगी और आप ना मेरे को मार्क्स देने वाले हो. क्योंकि ये तो guess. Okay, all right. So I will just explain you this. So what is actually a startup? So temporary organization in search of a scalable and a replaceable business model. All right. So what is a temporary organization? Why am I calling a startup a temporary organization? Can anybody just help me, figure this out? What is actually a temporary organization? हिंदी में बता सकते हैं? Yeah, please. You want to say something?
Which stays for a shorter duration.
Exactly. Absolutely. So, why is it a temporary startup? Because a startup is not here to be in the early stage. It is not here in the market for the ideation phase only. They are there to disrupt the market. They are there to, create something new which is required in the market itself. That is why it is a temporary organization. And it is in search of what? A scalable and a, repeatable business model. What is a scalable business model?
Scalable means it will be based on capacity.
Okay. What else? So basically, growing exponentially. It can be scaled, like Paytm did, right? Paytm, they got their funding and they scaled. So what they can do is multi-fold. They can multi-fold the technology, the use case. Maybe it was for just 10 users in the initial phase, and now it is for like 100 million users. So you can just scale in a startup, and then it should be a repeatable business model. What is a repeatable business model? What is a repeatable business model, guys?
That is similar to existing ones.
No, I don't think so. Repeatable मतलब repeat हो सकता है, right? जो replicate हो सकता है easily, right? उसको हम क्या बोलेंगे? Repeatable business model. Simple as that. हिंदी में बता सकते हैं यार, मैं कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, ठीक है? Alright. So what is a repeatable business model? like Netflix does. Subscription base पे चलता है. Initially, you are just there for 1 month, then you go for 1 year, right? So that is repeatable. And also, it can, not just Netflix. Let me take an example for like Google. अलग demographics में हम उसको replicate कर पाएं, एक ऐसे business model को repeat कर पाएं. That is the part of a startup. So what is a startup? I hope I am able to clear that out. What exactly is a startup? Because startup normal business से थोड़ा सा अलग इसीलिए हो जाता है because we are going to scale it and we are going to scale it in repeat, in different demographics. हम सिर्फ एक particular location के लिए उस particular startup को नहीं बना रहे. So wow momos का example लेती हूँ. Wow momos एक store से शुरू हुआ होगा for obvious reasons. ठीक है, बट उसने एक ऐसा प्रोसेस बनाया थ्रू आउट विच कुड बी रिपीटेड, विच कुड आल्सो बी स्केल्ड. अब उसके 100 स्टोर्स हो या 1000 स्टोर्स हो, इट डजंट मैटर टू देम बिकॉज इट कैन बी रिपीटेड. द होल प्रोसेस इज सेगमेंटेड. दे कैन एक्चुअली रेप्लिकेट दैट होल मॉडल अगेन एंड अगेन एंड दैट इज व्हाई इट इज सक्सेसफुल. ऑलराइट, सो व्हाई एक्चुअली स्टार्ट अ स्टार्टअप? सो हाउ मेनी, फर्स्ट बिफोर दिस, हाउ मेनी एक्चुअली वांट टू स्टार्ट अ स्टार्टअप? आज नहीं, कल नहीं, 10 साल में, 5 साल में, like when do you feel like anybody who wishes to have their own startup? Nobody. You want to have your startup? Okay. Any niche that you are already thinking about?
I'm thinking about doing the QSR thing, quick service restaurant.
Oh, lovely. I am starting that in like 3 months.
Now I'm starting in the 6 years.
All the best. Nice, very nice.
So find a period before that.
Okay, all right. Anybody else who has an idea? Maybe अभी नहीं सोच रहे हो कि startup करेंगे, but you have an idea कि ऐसा कुछ हो सकता है. I can disrupt the market or something. Anybody from that side who's not answered yet? यार मैं इसे कलर से बोलूंगी तो अच्छा नहीं लगेगा. Can you please answer yourself? नहीं, हमारे साथ भी बनना तो I don't want to do that, please. Anybody from this side, come on. Do you ever think कि एक startup हमें शुरू करना है तो कैसा होना चाहिए? मैं क्या करना चाहता हूँ? Would I open a store or would it be just an online thing? Something. It can be weird आज की डेट में, but 5 साल बाद you never know. I never thought of having a startup while I was sitting there with you guys, like 8 years back. I never thought of, I was always thinking, I want to do something, maybe someday. I never knew it would be this.
Startup for a cow ghee.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
आजकल तो वैसे भी बहुत trending है. Everybody is into that A to B and all that, no? That's nice. Something else? Some new business ideas. No startup, some business ideas. कोई बस क्लोथिंग लेबल मत बोलना, कुछ और बताओ, कुछ नया, कुछ करते हैं ना मार्केट में, कुछ नया लाना है. Come on, let's brainstorm. Okay, all right, no worries. So why do you need a startup? There are major reasons you start a startup. तो जिन्होंने बताया कि उन्हें startup शुरू करना है, excuse me, you at the back. हाँ, startup शुरू करने के लिए करना क्यों है? Like why do you want to start a startup?
Basically, I want to start it because मुझे पसंद है करना. मुझे फूड्स के लाइन में स्टार्टिंग से जाना था.
Okay. So
12th
you like that particular niche?
Yes, I particular.
Okay, nice. And do you have a background for that?
No, basically no.
That doesn't matter, is it? Don't worry. Okay, all right. So one is that he likes to do it, and I call it passion. Yeah, I want to create something. All right. That could be one reason of why I need to start a startup. What else? What could be a reason why somebody actually starting a startup?
Social responsibility.
Social responsibility. Really? It could be. Asking you a question. Yeah, it could be money. What else?
One is
Money. Yeah, obviously, yeah, we need money.
need for the society, which is done through your own efforts.
Need for the society, I'll just refine this a bit. Maybe need for the market. There's a market gap and we want to fill that particular need.
That why
That could be
we-
one.
yeah. From
Okay,
that
alright.
point will be
Okay. Before all of that, I'll give you a reality check. It is never going to be a rosy rosy road. It is still not today for me. It will never be, and I know that. Okay. Alright. So why you actually start a startup? Basically, there are major 4 reasons that we actually start a startup. First is purpose-driven innovation. Alright. So if you have a mission, if you want to make life easier, if you have a purpose, then only you're going to start a startup, right? So, like Blinkit did. Why did Blinkit disrupt the market?
found a market gap.
Exactly. So they had a purpose, right? They, I guess before that, there was brokers. I guess brokers were actually delivering in like 1 or 2 days all the groceries and everything, right? But they found a gap. Blinkit actually did that. In 10 minutes, I want it. I want maybe a lemon right now. Guests are coming. I want some, cold drinks or something, and I want it in like next 10 to 15 minutes. Blinkit actually did that. Yes.
These are theoretical aspects we will be class.
Yeah.
The whole day. I think we appreciate if you give us a case study, like zero, because
Yeah, obviously.
your success is celebrated. If you can give your case study and explain instead of becoming a theoretical exercise, it becomes a line. This is my suggestion.
Yes,
You're
obviously.
all happy with it.
No. Absolutely agreed, sir. I would actually do that because initially it was just what of the whole, story. Now is the why, and I will be sharing my own journey also in the whole process. Hanji, bilkul, sir. I agree. All right, no worries. So purpose-driven innovation kya hoga? Why did I start Nimbu Nexus? I'll start with that. All right. So when I was building Amalfa, a jewelry brand with the co-founders, I found a major gap. What was the major gap? I couldn't find art directors. I was not able to find shoot coordinators. I was not able to find any mood. If anybody knows about mood boarding, so what we do is before we do a particular shoot, maybe a product shoot, I do a whole thorough research of creating the maybe a mood board. I call it the mood board. So the mood board is actually a storytelling process wherein I decide this is the kind of imagery I am looking out for after the shoot is done, after the result I get of the shoot. Alright, that is done in the whole process of shoot, maybe in the product shoots, maybe in the lifestyle shoots that we do, maybe in the model shoots or product shoots that we do in particular. So jewelry being a very particular niche and a very difficult, niche wherein we have to, check those all little details. I would think that the girls would understand. अगर आपको proper नग नहीं दिखेंगे or the use case of that particular earring, you won't feel like buying that particular earring, right? So this is what actually was the purpose, for me for making Nimbu Nexus, because I was the whole sole, driver there who was making the mood boards, who was doing the R&D single-handedly. I was being the art director for all the shoots, let it be lifestyle shoots or product shoots. And through that process, I found out the majority of, the photographers and videographers, they actually lacked the knowledge of creating the whole storyboarding. All right. So when I found a particular gap, I realized that this is something a new brand who's already, struggling in the face of creating content and everything, they need it. They need a person who can actually guide them, who can actually do the whole R&D and that whole process, which is very tedious. And I am the person who actually thought that I could do it all. Right? So that was the major purpose. All right. Like I gave one example of Blinkit. It was a purpose-driven innovation that they did, right? Any more examples that you think are purpose-driven? Anybody who can think of any example right now?
Ma'am, maybe Tesla in terms of EVs.
Yeah, exactly. They wanted to, reduce the carbon emissions, right? That is why Elon Musk came with Tesla. That is why it was invented, right?
Using smart home technologies for the care of elderlies.
Probably it could be one, because there is a purpose behind that whole innovation. Obviously, that. And any more examples that you're thinking? Yeah, this could be one reason. This could be the purpose that somebody actually built this.
UPI.
Today, everybody is using UPI because nobody who is carrying cash today, nobody, right? So obviously, these kind of innovations change everything. All right. And what is the other reason? Market gap and opportunity. What is the market gap?
Finding a unique problem.
Unique problem. Something or some product or particular service which did not exist, right? Like Uber did. The taxi services, they were already failing much, and Uber did disrupt the market at that particular point of time. Right? And one major example that comes to my head right now is Zerodha. Nobody entered that particular market ever, right? And they actually disrupted the market. And even if I think of building an app like Zerodha today, it is very difficult because they have like 20 to 30 people in their team. That is the core team that they have, and they build that particular app. You know, so there needs to be a market gap and an opportunity, obviously, right? So if I think probably today there is Uber, Ola, Rapido, and there are so many other apps also existing, and I think of disrupting the market. Is that possible for me? Obviously, you can say no. Come on, you can say no. You can't do that right now because I need to find a particular market gap. If I can give a cab which is not 300 or 500, and if it is of 100 rupees, only then will I be able to disrupt the market. It has to be a unique, there has to be a unique parameter wherein this whole thing happens, right? And obviously, scalability and impact and personal and financial growth. Yeah, please.
यूनिकनेस के साथ अगर हम कोई नया प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च भी कर रहे हैं तो उसका प्राइस रेंज इतना रखें जिससे लोगों को हमको पता कैसे चलेगा कि ये प्राइस रेंज कितने में फिट हो रहा है, कितने क्लास के लोगों को ये अफोर्ड करना है या नहीं.
Perfect. Can I answer this like after 2 slides?
Yeah.
Because I can just help you through that. All right. Because there are many parameters for whatever we do for the pricing. Right. All right. Okay. So how do you start a startup? So how you do a startup is actually the process of creating a startup. It is not a one-day job, and I will not say it is just 5 pointers. अच्छा इससे startup बन जाता है, because that is never going to happen. All right. So basically, we need to identify a market. So I'll answer your question in some parts. All right. So we need to identify. There has to be a problem-solution fit, which we say, what is the problem-solution fit? I find out the particular problem. All right, and then I solutionize it with my own, product or service, and then I give it out in the market. Simple as that. All right.
मेरे लिए एक स्टार्टअप है. मैं ये सोचा है कि अगर जैसे डीसैलिनाइजेशन ऑफ वाटर होता है, उससे वाटर की शॉर्टेज को खत्म कर सकते हैं.
Okay.
जैसे अगर 70% पानी होता है, वैसे पानी पीने और लायक नहीं है ना, तो उसे डीसैलिनाइज कर सकते हैं कि नहीं कर सकते, उसके ऊपर कितना काम कर सकती है अगर कलेक्टिवली लोग पूरी कंट्री करें वर्ल्ड की टॉप इकोनॉमी.
Then the government needs to be involved in this whole process. A startup needs to find some ways to connect all the government and then, think of this kind of.
Actually, when you have an idea, for example, you have an idea for a startup. I have done 3 startups and I've sold them and retired rich. So when you want to do a startup, you have to do preliminary research. You have to do detailed research. The idea which you are talking is 42-year-old. I'm not trying to disappoint you, but if you Google desalinization, UAE, Middle East has been doing it for 40 years. But the process, why it is not commercialized is, first of all, there is the water shortage is not so acute. In other areas, that is number 1. Number 2, desalinization and then making it potable. It will require scientific inquiry and a lot of research. Okay, so that is not your core area. So, and this is not cost effective. Okay, so I just thought if you are really thinking of doing this, so it is a 42-year-old technology. Ideally, as Madam is explaining, a startup, it's a disruptive thing. Like she explained that, like there was a jewelry brand which started with 12 carat jewelry because nobody can afford 22 carat jewelry. So let's have 12 carat jewelry. Somebody started it. So startup is something. Secondly, startup because you do it on your own. Okay, you don't have a very big paraphernalia around. So you must think of something which you can do on your own with some bootstrapping and some money. So जो आपका project है ना, that's a ExxonMobil, Bharat Petroleum. Not trying to discourage you, but just to, yeah. Thank you.
And you need a lot of networking to do that. You can do it. You need a lot of resources in that matter, to be very honest. So basically, startup तो छोटे शुरू करते हैं. इसके बाद फिर भी just go crazy in numbers. That is the reality of a startup. All right. So identifying, is there a market? So we need to find a problem. We need to find a solution. Then we need to validate it without investment. That would be my suggestion. That is why I made this PPT. Because what people do is start investing in the very initial stages. All right. So what we need to do is we need to find different steps without investing heavy. All right. Yeah. Is there something you want to say?
No.
No. Okay. I thought you were saying. Okay. Okay. So you can invest without, maybe with a little amount. All right. That, like sir said, you can just bootstrap it. You can seek funding on a later stage when you have an MVP. I hope I am clear with these terms, MVP and everything. Right? All right. And yeah, I missed this slide. Can anybody help me with the slide, please? Alright. So after we've done validating what our idea is, what we can do is we can start a waiting list to gauge the interest. So how do you check with the interest? Like if I have an idea, all right, and I want to start it off, I want to start that startup, how will I do it? Okay, I'll just take the example of the QSR that he was talking about. All right. So if I have maybe fast food in my menu, all right, I hope it gets engaging. यार कि बहुत boring हो जाएगा otherwise. ठीक है? So अगर fast food आपकी menu list में है, and you want to test the market, how will you do it?
polls लेके सर्वे करके जैसे हम थोड़ा सर्वे लिया, स्टैटिस्टिकल टूल्स यूज किए, कोरिलेशन रेग्रेशन यूज किया, उससे एक तरीके से इक्वेशन बनेगी कि x में वेरिएबल डाल के वेरिएबल से y के रिस्पॉन्स ये आ रहे हैं, तो उस बेसिस पे हम आगे ले सकते हैं कि नहीं ले सकते. जैसे एक बड़ी कंपनी है, वो चाहती है कि अपने फूड पर जो भी आर्टिकल्स वो प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं उसके साथ में ड्रिंक्स देनी चाहिए, शॉर्ट कोल्ड, तो वो पहले.
बट हम अभी बात कर रहे हैं, वी आर टेकिंग एन एग्जांपल ऑफ अ QSR. ठीक है? सो एक QSR के केस में हाउ विल यू एक्चुअली ट्राई? अगर मेरे पास वेबसाइट नहीं है, व्हाट डू आई डू नाउ?
So just in case of finding out the right target audience, because it's a fast food thing that you're telling.
Correct.
So maybe the young generation would be very influenced too, because if I am handling that, so my first step would be to come up with some small setups or stalls in front of some educational institutions or some schools, ताकि वहाँ पे dispersal हो तो they could try out, and so that would be one of the actual identification of whether the idea is good or not.
सबसे पहले हमने प्रॉब्लम आइडेंटिफाई की कि यहाँ पे हमारे कॉलेज के आसपास अच्छे टेस्ट वाले मोमोज नहीं मिलते, सपोजिटली. ठीक है? सेकेंडली हमने उसका सोल्यूशन बनाया कि मेरे को पता है कैसे बनाना है, व्हाट इज द एक्चुअल टेस्ट, बिकॉज आई ऑब्वियसली लव मोमोज. ठीक है? So what is the actual thing which should be delivered to the customer? All right. Second, then we go to validation. How we do a validation test? We actually validate with the target audience. So we define a target audience, which is maybe 10 years of age to 25 or 30 years of age. That is the target segment. ठीक है? हम चाहें तो कुछ ads run करके, like with a minimal investment, we can test this particular audience. And now I want to test the area of Dwarka. So I select sector maybe 10, 11, 7, and this is the near about area that I am going to test. Never ever, like whenever you are doing a testing over Facebook ads, especially, never ever select like just Dwarka and you are just done testing the whole particular ad set. All right. We need to be very focused. Like अभी हमें QSR की बात करेंगे क्योंकि so we need to be focused in which area are we actually testing that particular thing. So like we said, sector 10, 11, 7, this is the particular region that we want to test. So this is the particular demographic that we are going to select. All right. And now suppose that I want to give a plate of momos maybe for just 10 rupees, which is not existing in this particular market. 50 रुपए से ऊपर की एक प्लेट मिलती है market. So what we are doing, we are breaking the pricing strategy of the whole market. All right. So what we can do is, we can create a waiting list. कि अच्छा, on this particular day of Saturday, because we know that weekends are very special for everybody. All right. So we do a waiting list. Maybe we test it. कि अच्छा ठीक है, Saturday को मेरे पास ये चीजें available होंगी, and it is going to be only for ₹10. Maybe we give 50 momos for that. Okay, so we need to actually test the whole process, and then slowly and slowly you just keep on changing, pivoting that this is working for you and this is not working for you. So while I was building Limbo Nexus, I would just give some pointers of that. I realized there was a major market gap at that, and now after that I use different tools. How many of you are really familiar with SimilarWeb or AdSpy tools and all?
SimilarWeb पता.
You've used SimilarWeb? What is it used for?
Basically competitor analysis और उन सब के लिए काफी help करता है in terms
Yeah.
of keywords also.
It actually helps you analyze the website.
Yeah.
It actually tells you what is the app traffic. It
Index
tells
the-
you the user behavior, what is the age group, and also the genders, which are actually okay. So I'll take an example. Everybody's heard of Jiva,
Yeah.
the jewelry brand.
Yes.
Jewelry brand, not the JIVA, the Ayurvedic one. All right. So Jiva, what actually it did? सोना बहुत महंगा हो रहा है. Everybody is not going to buy gold, right? And artificial doesn't work in India much. Honestly, it doesn't. Okay? But Jiva found a gap which was silver. Our elders of the family, they actually say you sona chandi khareed ke rakho, right? Because that is a form of investment that people actually think, right? So Jiva entered the market with not having zero dead loss as dead stock. I'm so sorry. They actually had zero dead stock in terms of their inventory, in terms of their SKUs, how they can actually melt silver down. And with those ideas, we built Amalfa. While I was building Amalfa, we came up with the idea of sterling silver, which is not exactly 99% silver. It is 92.50% of silver mixed with other metals. All right. And if you take Chinese product, what happens is, so while we were ordering a lot of Chinese products for this particular jewelry brand, what happened with us was brass and stainless steel. These particular two metals, they do not, give you a tingling effect, or they do not give you rashes or anything. The girls can actually relate with that. All right. So, do you use any particular brands for jewelry, especially? No brand as such. Okay, all right, no worries. Okay. So what Jiva actually did, we actually tried to copy that thing, and that particular thing never worked out for us. So what we did was, we picked up sterling silver, we picked up stainless steel, and we picked up brass as a metal, and then we collaborated and created our own jewelry pieces. We designed the whole process, like how can we actually do it? Because what China does is, it actually tells you 1000 piece के order से कम हम नहीं देंगे. And that, as a startup, is the biggest challenge. How do you actually do it? How can you invest like 20 lakhs of rupees in an SKU which you don't know you will be able to sell or not? So what do you think what we must have done? Guys, come on. Is it that boring? Why is anybody not answering right now? Okay, all right, no worries. Okay, so we use different tools to actually analyze what our competitors are actually doing. Okay, all right. Okay, so there was a brand Jiva in silver jewelry. There is a major brand of Tata, which is Tanishq and PP Jewelers and PC Jewelers and whatnot in that particular gold segment, which is heavy investments. Then came CaratLane in the picture. 12 carat, 18 carat. That was the gold range that they were targeting. But we as a jewelry brand, we couldn't do that as well because we did not have heavy investments. The CaratLane owner, they come from a jewelry, they have history of jewelry making. So we couldn't do that. We were never jewelry designers. Me and my co-founders, who I was working with, nobody had, even a 0.2% of experience in jewelry, particularly. We were actually building a clothing label. It failed terribly, and then we went into the jewelry market. So there is brand named Amama, if you've heard of Amama. It is a leading brand for all the, it is doing amazing today, for all the movies and all the promotions and heavy, HNIs and all. They actually create jewelry only from brass. One particular SKU costs around 5,000 to 6,000, and that is artificial jewelry. And it is actually scaling well, like amazing. All right. So what we found out was Amama is actually selling at a very higher price. For a medium person, nobody is going to invest 5,000-6,000 for just a party or maybe an event I want to go to and I'll just buy that particular jewelry, right? So what I actually did was we actually found out a particular pricing range that you were actually questioning. That 12,000 is a very sweet price that we can play with. People can play, play around 999. That also happened, but now it is 900 only, right? Because in your head, in your psyche, it doesn't click that you're paying 1,000. It is not so bad. That is how the market actually plays with the pricing, right? So what we did was we found a sweet spot wherein our costing for a particular SKU was maybe rupees 100, all right? And then we multiplied with the packaging cost, the ad cost per ad. And obviously, if you know ROAS, anybody well aware with the term ROAS? No, okay. So what is ROAS? Basically, it is the return on investment. The ad spent, supposedly, मैंने 1,000 रुपए का ad लगाया, ठीक है? Like how we did. I'll just give you that example. So we've invested on a particular ad for rupees 1,000 only in a particular area. And what we did was we actually targeted different locations. Tier 1 was one segment, Tier 2 was different, Tier 3 was different. And to our surprise, the pricing that we were playing with, Tier 1 and Tier 3 were buying from us. Okay, just give me a random guess. What would be the location where we had the maximum, sale in India? Mumbai, okay, all right. Sorry? Maharashtra, okay. What else? Delhi, okay. What else? Any particular other location, guys?
साउथ में ज्यादा गोल्ड पहना
Gujarat, okay.
साउथ में ज्यादा पहना जाता है
But
गोल्ड
हम तो artificial jewelry दे देते हैं.
फिर भी
Mixed with sterling silver, obviously.
ज्वेलरी
Jewelry उधर जाता है, ठीक है? Girls, come on, यार, answer. Any particular location you think the jewelry must be selling? Bangalore. Okay. I'll give you the reality. It was Madhya Pradesh. We were very surprised. Honestly, when we checked the stat, we were like, यहाँ से कैसे order आ सकता है? ये तो बहुत ज़्यादा emerging market भी नहीं है. इनके पास तो पार्टी के लिए भी ऑप्शन नहीं होने चाहिए. हम तो यही सोचते हैं ना, पुणे, बैंगलोर, मुंबई, दिल्ली, these are the places where people will be investing because they are heavy in their pockets. They are earning much and they can spend, right? No, that is not the reality.
Indore?
Bhopal. Bhopal and the nearby areas which were in the tier 3 and tier 4 categories. So that was a very big surprise. And can you imagine
This is like Bareilly, Jodhpur.
no, no, because Jodhpur and Jaisalmer side, the major manufacturers are already sitting there. And they actually prefer gold and silver there much. Artificial is not a trend there at all. So the major trends that we found out, so what we did a major change. So the next quarter that we were deciding the ads for, we decided to target first was Madhya Pradesh, the Bhopal area, and then we found out different area locations. I cannot disclose those particular areas. They were near about Bhopal only itself, wherein the industry is already setting up, where the markets are very heavy. All right, that was the very first target set that we actually did in Meta. After that, we targeted Mumbai for obvious reasons because that is the biggest hub. That was actually our sale point. Apart from that, it was Bangalore and Kolkata. We were not expecting Kolkata and Delhi to be on the lower pedestal, but Delhi was surprisingly. Okay, all right. So when we do market research, we actually did a lot of competitor analysis. Like I mentioned, Jiva, Carrot Lane, Palmonas. If you know Palmonas, Shilpa Kapoor, come on now. उससे ही पता है. हाँ, she's invested. She is not the co-founder of Palmonas. She has invested in that particular brand because it was actually scaling really well. It was actually a very good competitor for Jiva. So yeah. So probably it's now 2 years to Amalfa and we have like more than 20,000 followers on the Instagram page. We have crossed the sale of monthly of 10 lakhs. The highest we did till date was 18 lakhs only because it is just a startup right now. So why are we building that particular thing? Because we found a particular market gap. That is why we were building that thing, right? हर कोई तो नहीं पहनेगा 5-6 हजार की ज्वेलरी. हर किसी की पॉकेट में नहीं है. When I was in college, मुझे 100 रुपया 50 रुपए की सरोजनी की ज्वेलरी अच्छी लगती थी. But when I came into my job, I was like, no, I need to spend, right? So when I need to spend, I will still not spend 5,000-6,000 on a mama's product just because Kareena Kapoor is wearing it. Right? So that was a major, market gap that we found out. कि pricing पे design अच्छा नहीं मिल रहा है. वो 100 रुपए वाली चीज everybody is wearing in my college. I don't want it. I want something different. I want a different design, maybe a different, material. When it comes to material, that was the major game changer. A stainless steel particular product will cost you rupees 500. A brass product will cost you 100. Same design, everything is same. Only I know as an owner, the material is different. And that changes my whole cost for the product. So you need to actually decide as a startup, what are you actually giving out in the market, right? I can give that local jewelry as well. I can procure all my products for China as well. But I did not do it. We went to Rajasthan. We had a lot of, to and fro to Rajasthan to different locations. Because there are a lot of manufacturers there and they have amazing design skills. I would actually say Delhi doesn't have it. Jodhpur, Jaisalmer, Jaipur, beautiful, people who are designing amazing pieces. And all the market for jewelry disrupted from that particular location itself. So we need to particularly find, So we need to find like what actually procures the product from China, right? But now they are also manufacturing.
Yeah.
Why are they manufacturing?
Manufacturing, but semi-manufacturing.
Semi-manufacturing. But why are they doing it? 100% China से कर सकते हैं क्या?
Because they want to take advantage of economies of scale and cost benefit.
Obviously, when you procure products from China, they're heavy on your pockets. You're giving out a lot. So when somebody who's procuring completely their products from China, because initially we also did it. I'll be very honest with you. Initially we did 100% procurement from China itself. But the moment we realized the sales went down tremendously. A month we had 15 lakhs of sale, and the other month, can you actually believe we had just 1 lakh rupees of sale? And everybody was questioning everybody there. Everybody, every other team member was questioning, kiski galti hai? Who's at fault right now? And then, as the major team players, we decided we need to change the whole theory. We need to. I just add a pointer here. What we actually did was, we actually want. So, जब आप China से मंगवाते हो, what happens is they're never going to give you the whole, ideation process, the designing process, the manufacturing process. They're never going to do it. But when we procured a product from Jodhpur and all on these particular locations, they actually gave you content as well. The whole, the process, they were building that particular jewelry, they were giving you those content videos. They changed the game for us in ads, in social media. So, as a user, supposedly you're wearing a particular brand of shoes, ठीक है? आपको process देखने को मिल रहा है कि how beautifully. Isn't it very aesthetically and very pleasing when you see any manufacturing video on your Instagram? It is, right? Why do you watch it? Why are you so engaged? Yeah, please, you can say.
Curiosity. and also
Curiosity, ये
curiosity.
बना कैसे है? How are they actually making it? ये मेरे को जब मिलेगा, so how? So what are they actually doing to you as a consumer? They're actually making you feel valuable. They're actually telling you the whole process transparently, right? And when I show you the whole process, you by default, you also don't know you are trusting that particular brand. If not today, in a month, in a year maybe, if not in a month, you will buy that particular product. Because that is how the psyche of particular ads work. Right? And that is how we also came into the market. And that is the major game that I found out the content needs to be played. So, okay, let's have you seen few ads which are now built on AI? 100% AI developed ads that are running?
I think Coca-Cola did it the first.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, Adidas also did. Why are they actually doing it?
Ma'am, because so many people are intrigued with the idea of AI. If they say it's completely generated by AI, of course we're going to get clicks. And then that itself is brand awareness through AI.
That is a brand perception. That particular brand, apart from its competitors, is using AI. No matter what kind of AI they're using, it doesn't matter. But if you are using something different, if you are able to show your consumers something different, then only you are going to be something else in the market. Then only you will be actually valued for. Right? So when we are building a startup, we need to, be very cautious of these little pointers, like how you're gonna do it. So we were taking the example of a QSR, right? अब हर कोई same plate में दे रहा है. But when you see somebody giving you fries in a cone, when it actually started, now it's getting very normal. But when it actually started, I'm sorry, it was particularly given in a cone which was easy to carry, easy to have. Earlier it was given in a plate, and it was a bit messy, and people like हाँ messy दे दिया जैसे चल रहा है. सदियों से चलती आ रही चीज को आप सेम वे में कर रहे हो. Nothing is new. But the moment you change the whole style, you change the whole perception. अच्छा ये तो बहुत मस्त लग रहा है, and then you put it on your Instagram stories, and that is how you create brand awareness as well. So what are you actually doing? You're engaging your consumers. They're going to come back to you again and again. You're creating repeated customers through that particular idea. All right? Okay. So while we're building a product, we do a market research. Okay? So we do a competitor analysis, as I mentioned. Competitor analysis करने के लिए आप different tools use कर सकते हो. SimilarWeb is an amazing tool which actually helps you, which actually guides you to give you user behavior. It actually tells you the app traffic. So while we were also doing this, we were actually figuring out, supposedly, as a jewelry brand, I would mention, I did not know a lot of jewelry brands when I was building that, right? So what we did was, through SimilarWeb, we found out different kind of jewelry websites that were developing. Not the brands who are already developed, but new websites which were in the process. Alright, so you can use tools like this, which can actually help you a lot. And this is, free. You don't have to pay anybody anything for this. You don't have to hire agencies to do the whole market research for you. So that is how you find competitors for free. Now, when I say Google, use Google. How do you use Google?
कॉम्पिटिटर्स फॉर फ्री का मतलब तो ये हो गया ना, कॉम्पिटिटर्स तो आ ही जाएंगे मार्केट में जब आप कोई नया प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च कर रहे हो उसके
कॉम्पिटिटर्स तो ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्ट कर रहे हैं मार्केट में, हमारे आने से नहीं आए हैं, वो पहले से ही है।
पहले से ही है, तो फाइंडिंग अ कॉम्पिटिटर फॉर फ्री वर्ड क्यों?
फ्री वर्ड इसलिए क्योंकि ओके आई
आपको
We
इसके
can-
बारे में फ्री में पता लगा, इंफॉर्मेशन मिल सकती है, इंफॉर्मेशन गैदरिंग फ्री में होती है।
अब मैं एज अ पर्सन 5 years बैक व्हाइल आई वाज बिल्डिंग अ प्रोडक्ट, ठीक है, मैं ज्वेलरी एक पर्टिकुलर नीश में स्टार्ट कर रही हूँ, ठीक है, मेरे को ज्वेलरी का कुछ नहीं पता, आई डोंट नो द कॉम्पिटिटर्स एज वेल। मेरे को एक आधा कोई पता है ना, मेरे को तनिष्क पता है ना, ठीक है, मैंने SimilarWeb पे तनिष्क डाला, तनिष्क के और भी कॉम्पिटिटर्स आ गए, तो अब मुझे उनके बारे में भी नॉलेज आ गई। अच्छा, दीज आर आल्सो द कॉम्पिटिटर्स, राइट, ठीक है। फिर मैंने उस पर्टिकुलर ब्रांड का वेबसाइट ढूंढा, मैंने फिर उन ब्रांड्स को रिसर्च किया। सॉरी, ठीक है, या प्लीज, सॉरी, ठीक है, मैंने उन ब्रांड्स के बारे में ढूंढा, then I go to their website, on the social media pages, and then I search more and more, and I have a whole list. I got a list of 52 competitors in just one day using Google. Very easy, obviously, right? So that is why I said use Google. And when I said use Google, doesn't mean just Googling. I also mean using all the tools that actually Google is providing you for free. Google Analytics, Google Trends, Google AdSense, or there are so many tools Google is actually building, right? And you can use it all for free. All right.
But exact data from Google is not coming enough.
So you use SimilarWeb for that? You will get exact number of data, exact number.
Comparison के साथ.
Comparison के साथ try करो.
Yeah.
बिल्कुल. I'll help you. You can connect with me. I'll help you how to do it. ठीक है? All right. So while we were running ads, what we actually found out was competitors कैसे ad चला रहे हैं. What is the type of content that I would actually show them? So आप लोगों ने ad library use किया है? Use किया है? Okay. So there is one person who's saying मैंने use किया है. Anybody else? Anybody else who's used ad library of Meta? Nobody? Can I show a demo if I have the permission of the professor? Is that fine? Okay, all right. Okay, so what is an ad library of Facebook? Now is it clear with everybody? I hope. Okay. Okay. So when I go to Meta, this is particular website helps me identify. That's okay. So this particular website actually helps me identify the ads my competitors are actually running. Alright. So supposedly I am going to test it only in India. If you want to go with different countries, you can select the countries from here. Alright. Then we go into the ad category. So supposedly I want all the ads. I don't want anybody to be left. And I put in here Jiva. Alright. So we have other ads also. Okay, so basically I'll just help you here. So basically ad कैसा दिखता है? एक ये वीडियो दिखेगी आपको, ठीक है? इस पर्टिकुलर ad लाइब्रेरी see the content here. This is the headline, all right? And then you have different CTAs. Click through action, that is what we say. CTAs basically क्या होता है? Which actually force the consumer to actually click. ठीक है? मैं बोलती हूँ call us, book now. आता है ना नीचे ad के नीचे लिखा हुआ आप लोगों के पास कुछ ना कुछ. So that is how we do. Shop now आ रहा है इसमें. ठीक है? So we actually want somebody, that is the user, who is actually getting engaged with this particular ad. And then we actually also see the headline that they are working with. I can actually check कि उसने क्या क्या pointers डाले. So अब जैसे आता है affordable है, 18 karat gold plated, highly like उसमें ऐसा होता है highly non-reactive ये वो. मतलब there are key factors, key pointers that they actually give. अब मैं जब ये competitors का पढ़ लूंगी, I can put it in ChatGPT for free. And I can, generate a lot of headlines, a lot of captions, a lot of CTAs, which actually help me to create my own ad. And obviously, there's a major game of the videos and the photos that you gave it, and that has to do with the shooting. You have to need, you need to have an amazing, amazing shoot. I am so sorry I couldn't show you much here. I'm not going to show. Okay, so that is what I was mentioning, using Google, using spy tools. So basically, spy tools maybe there are ad spy, big spy, power ad spy. There are a lot of spy tools. Spy का मतलब क्या होता है?
खुफिया जो होती है.
खुफिया है ना? तो हम एक खुफिया तरीके से we are actually testing what our competitors are actually doing. ठीक है? So that is why we use a lot of ad tools, and I actually prefer ad tools. Why? I'll tell you. अब आप मुझसे क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछ रहे हो यार. फेसबुक तो फ्री में दिखा रहा था, अभी सारे एड्स दिखा रहा है. तुम्हें स्पेंड क्यों करना है स्पाई टूल्स पे?
क्योंकि हमें ही देखना है ना खुफिया.
तो वो तो खुफिया तरीके से तो वो ऐसे भी दिखा रहा है. Why you need to actually spend on a spy tool to actually check?
पर्पस के लिए ढूंढना, किसी चीज का पर्पस जानेंगे तभी आगे इन्वेंट करने के लिए और अच्छे से इन्वेंट कर पाएंगे.
Maybe the bidding strategy.
There are a lot of factors. तो मैं इसमें एक बहुत मेजर फैक्टर बताती हूँ. जब हम एक ऑडियंस को टारगेट करते हैं, ठीक है, तो हम एक ऑडियंस को टारगेट किस हिसाब से करते हैं? उसकी एज के हिसाब से, उसके जेंडर के हिसाब से, या फिर डेमोग्राफिक्स के हिसाब से, राइट? जब मैं फेसबुक एड लाइब्रेरी पे जाती हूँ, उसमें क्या होता है? उसमें मुझे वो सिर्फ और सिर्फ अपनी एड की डिटेल दिखा रहा है, which is the headline, the CTA, and the image of the video. That's it. But when you use a spy tool, what actually happens is you see what is the target audience, women कितने percentage है, men कितने percentage है, what are the number of likes, and what are probably the number of conversions as well. किस प्राइसिंग पे इन्होंने एड चलाया है, कितनी डेट से ये एड चल रहा है, because there are some ads which actually run for like 2 to 6 months as well, and they are actually amazing. They have amazing returns. They are giving good revenue to the brand. So that is why we use spy tools, so that we can actually help, especially the new brands that are, building up. तो उसके लिए हमें spy tools खरीदने पड़ते. So that is not for free, but yes. Okay. So now we need. Okay. Now we need to do the scrutiny of the competitors. What are they doing right? What are they missing? So what is the plus and minus of the whole story? ठीक है. अब जीवा क्या कर रहा था? जीवा के भी बहुत ही heavy jewelry pricing है और सब कुछ है. They have just silver. And I am a person who likes silver. But उसमें gold range भी चाहिए क्योंकि कुछ ड्रेसेस के साथ तो gold वाला चलेगा, right? So that major differences that we found out कि हम किस तरीके से play कर सकते हैं. तो while scrutinizing the whole competitor list that we've created throughout. So what we do is, what are they doing right? What are we, going to do in that particular whole process? What are they actually missing? And obviously, the pricing, which is a major game changer there. Like we did, I just gave you an example of that. All right. Building Nemo Nexus, I would mention that. I actually missed that. I'm so sorry. So while we were building Nemo Nexus, if you go out and find out any particular art director just to shoot or building a mood board or guiding you through the whole process of shoot, they were charging you more than 50,000. We started this particular service at just 12,000 rupees. So that obviously I was taking losses for it, but because you want to enter the market as a startup, you have to make some major changes. Not at the cost of, I would not say a break even happens, maybe in 6 months or 1 year, but you need to, create your own space in the market. Whatever works for you, you need to make that particular decision. Already? Okay, all right. So you need to also define your USP. What is the USP? Okay. वो तो full form हो गया. USP में और क्या क्या आएगा?
Ma'am, whatever differentiates your product from the market.
Absolutely. Anything. Better quality? Is it easily available? Is the pricing, cost effective? Any factor that, changes the whole game, which changes the whole perception for that particular product or service, all right? That is under the bracket of a USP for that particular, startup. All right. Now we create an MVP. What we actually do? What is the process of creating an MVP?
Minimum viable product.
Yeah.
You differentiate minimum, then you keep the viability, and then you combine it to get a better. It's the minimum people, but target them in a proper manner. So at least we are going to get a better market to reach this.
Correct. So I would just give you an example of a tech product, maybe an app. So if I was having like 4 pages on that particular app, I start with just one particular page and I start with just one particular service. If I'm thinking I have a vision of giving out maybe 5 to 10 services, I decide that I'll just be giving one as of now. I test the market. Is the market actually requiring it? मैंने ऐप तो बना दिया, जरूरत ही नहीं है. So if that MVP is not tested, I would waste all my energy, all the hard work, all the investments, right, in creating the product. So before creating the product, we need to create a MVP, which is a minimum viable product. We need to take user feedback. Why? We need to also improve for that, right? If that particular app is not working, what will you do? आपने launch कर दिया सीधा. That won't work for you at all. So while we were building a Malpa, what we did was we created pricing of products of prices maybe 900 to 1200 only. Today we also sell a product which is 2500. We also sell a product which is 5000. All right, but we started off with just 2 to 3 products. That's it. So that was the MVP. It can be anything for any particular niche, for any particular brand, any particular, I would say industry that you are targeting. I would not just say tech or any particular product also. The major thing I actually believe in while you are building a startup is you need to change. Keep on innovating. Keep on changing. If the user says no, it means it is a no. They are not actually, needing that particular product, and we need to pull it down from the market. मतलब we don't have to, connect our heart to it. कि अच्छा यार मैंने तो इतनी मेहनत से लगाया था सब कुछ और बनाया इसको और the market is not liking that particular product. So the users will actually give you the honest feedback, and you need to be open when you are building a startup. You have to listen to a lot of no's. कि अच्छा ये अच्छा नहीं है, ये अच्छा बना है, and then you have to pull it down, or else you have to build new. All right. Okay, if I don't have a MVP, मेरे पास अभी कोई प्रोडक्ट नहीं है, ठीक है, जैसे हम क्विक सर्विस रेस्टोरेंट की बात कर रहे थे, हमारे पास वेबसाइट नहीं है, हम कैसे स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं? Any particular idea? नया बिजनेस बनाना है हमें, गाइस, क्या कोई आइडिया नहीं है? मैं बताती हूँ आइडिया क्यों ऐसा हमें क्विक सर्विंग रेस्टोरेंट बनाने वाले हैं, तो उसके लिए हमें क्या करना है?
So we need to analyze the market, what our customer is needing.
करेक्ट, मेरे पास वेबसाइट नहीं है, मेरे पास कुछ भी नहीं है, हाउ डू आई स्टार्ट?
सबसे पहले तो हम मेरे साथ में अपने कॉम्पिटिटर को देखेंगे वो क्या कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि ऑलरेडी उनका बिक रहा मार्केट में, तो ऐसा तो है नहीं वो गलत बेच रहे हैं। तो हम उनसे देख सकते हैं, तो वो बेच रहे हैं, हम उससे आइडिया ले सकते हैं और अपना एक फर्स्ट स्टेप रख सकते हैं।
बिल्कुल,
जब अपना फर्स्ट स्टेप रखेंगे और हम अपनी स्टॉल्स लगाएंगे फेसबुक वगैरह में, तो हमें एक आइडिया मिल जाएगा बेसिक हमारा कौन सा प्रोडक्ट बेस्ट सेलिंग हो रहा है। तो हम उस पर मोर फोकस करके हमें हमें अपनी एक नीश भी मिल जाएगी, तो हम उसको आगे पुश कर सकते हैं।
बिल्कुल, एग्जैक्टली दैट यू कैन डू। बट उससे पहले हमें क्या चाहिए?
क्रिएट करना अवेयरनेस को,
अवेयरनेस। अवेयरनेस कैसे क्रिएट करेंगे?
एडवर्टाइज करके या फिर
मेरे को इन्वेस्ट नहीं करना।
इन्वेस्ट नहीं करना, तो या तो सैम्पलिंग में दे।
गूगल से आप लोगों को कैसे बताओगे? बिजनेस को अपने रजिस्टर करके एक पर्टिकुलर लोकेशन को डाल के एक पर्टिकुलर फोन नंबर को, आप कोई सर्च करता है BCIPS द्वारका, you get a location, you get a call button, you get a website and everything, you have the details there, right? So you can actually check on the business manager, you can actually create all of these accounts, you can create Instagram pages, you can create Facebook pages, you can create Reddit groups, you can create WhatsApp groups for that particular brand awareness for free. You can tap on your friends, you can tap on your relatives, and then you can also ask them to forward to their particular group. And this is like the most basic thing that you can ever do while you're starting. All right. So, okay, all right. Marketing your product, organic and paid marketing strategies, social media, customer experience, and word of mouth. So, सबसे पहले हमने बात किया ऑर्गेनिकली हम इस चीज को कैसे पुश कर सकते हैं। इंस्टाग्राम पेजेस, सोशल मीडिया पेजेस, जितने भी हमारे पास अवेलेबल है प्लेटफॉर्म, उसके थ्रू you can use Pinterest. That is a highly used platform. If people don't know about it, Pinterest is amazing. People use it for their, like Instagram was launched as Bubble. So they actually innovated. They had a lot of, if everybody knows about that particular brand. Bubble, पता है? हाँ, Instagram पहले Bubble था. They had a lot of, sorry, I'm missing the term. I'm so sorry. Okay, so उसके बाद the feature set. उसके बाद बहुत सारे feature set हैं. But the users actually didn't like that particular thing. It actually pivoted into Instagram. It made it only imagery. Initially जब Instagram launch हुआ था, only images were allowed on that particular app. After that, now today they have also introduced reels and everything. Earlier it was just images. So what we actually do is we use all these particular platforms. अब हम एक quick serving restaurant की बात कर रहे हैं. So we are actually doing that research side by side. So I am able to guide you there also. कि हम उसमें अपने different platforms को use कर रहे हैं. We are actually clicking photos of the products that we are actually building. Okay. And scaling and fundraising. I think I need to tell this also.
No. एंजल इन्वेस्टर्स होते हैं बस नए स्टार्टअप्स।
Okay. सिर्फ एंजल इन्वेस्टर्स नहीं होते हैं वैसे तो। There are a lot of seed fundings also happening, bootstrap. So basically कोई भी startup जब start होता है, it is a bootstrap. That is what we call it. I am a bootstrap startup. What is the bootstrap?
You or your friend circle, somebody is going.
आपने अब खुद का पैसा लगा दिया, दोस्तों का लगा दिया, आसपास रिलेटिव से लेके लगा दिया. That is the bootstrap organization. And Amalfa is the bootstrap organization. We did not take any funding. We built it on our own with our own investments. And while we were building that, now we are also talking to a VC who is going to fund it for 100 crores. Because there is the particular vision, I cannot disclose that. That is a 3 to 5 years plan that we've already, visioned, and we've already created the whole product line and everything, which is going to happen soon, right? Okay, so ये पॉइंटर मेरे को डिस्कस नहीं करने थे इतने, बिकॉज आप लोगों को पता है सबसे पहली चीज एक कस्टमर को सेटिस्फाई करने के लिए क्या होती है, उनकी नीड्स को केटर करना, राइट? अगर they have paid me 1,000 rupees, they should actually feel valued that they are paying 1,000 to me, right? If I give them a product of 1,000 rupees and a product value that seek is ये तो 100 rupees का था यार, गलत इन्वेस्ट कर दिया, are they going to come back to you? They're never going to come back to you. And what they actually will do, you don't even realize, they will actually going, they're going to impact you through word of mouth. They're going to tell other of their friends, their families, कि अच्छा ये ब्रांड बेकार है, इससे नहीं लेना, ये वैल्यू फॉर मनी नहीं दे रहा है मुझे. Because India is a very price sensitive market. You have to be very cautious while you're choosing the pricing. Let it be any niche, any product, any service, any industry, it doesn't matter. You have to be very, very cautious. So while I give out social media services to the clients, I make sure that if I am giving out, the product, the whole service for rupees just 10,000, I deliver it for at least 20,000. I want the client to be super satisfied. Why? Because customer satisfaction is really important to me. Second of all, that word of mouth will change my business game. That is going to change my brand name as well. If I do not change it, what will happen to me? If I don't make changes, what will happen?
कस्टमर फीडबैक गलत देगा,
कस्टमर फीडबैक गलत देगा, बिल्कुल.
उससे आपके ब्रांड पे भी बहुत बड़ा इम्पैक्ट आ सकता है.
बिल्कुल आएगा, बिल्कुल आएगा.
Close, because customer is your main king, and if you are not hearing them, I don't think you are going to survive in the market.
Atiti Devo Bhava, है ना? That is for the customer also. They are the god. They are the people the business is actually running. Okay, all right. So I'll give you a few examples if you did not know about it. Netflix, was it always on the subscription model?
Netflix
It used to sell CDs, I think.
DVD.
Yeah.
Yeah, earlier it was a DVD, it has a business model of a DVD rental. And they pivoted into streaming. So you need to keep changing. You need to actually analyze the whole market. And I'll just end the slide with this. The ethics that are actually needed for success. Customer trust is really, really important. You need to have, if you want to have a long-term success, you have to be very honest with your customers. You do not, you cannot miss out on that. You never promise what you can't deliver. If somebody says 5,000 में ये service मिल जाएगी, I will never promise that. Why? Because I can't ever deliver it, right? And last, I would end it with, you need to keep fair pricing. You need to keep the fair partnerships while you're building that particular product or service. And I would just share the details with Suniti ma'am, and you guys can connect with me. And if you have any questions for me, please let me know. Yeah, please.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask, for example, from your brand perspective, what are the things you kept in mind while you were creating things like the logo, the font, everything somebody who looks at the brand would perceive, and what was the thinking behind it?
Okay, so this whole process is the branding aspect of a brand. ठीक है? So जब हम branding aspect पे बात करते हैं, हम सबसे पहले बात करते हैं color palette. Jewelry case में मैं बात करती हूँ, because while we were building that whole process was so tedious. Why? Because some jewelry stores they use purple as their color. Why do they use it? सब तो बोलते हैं रेड और येलो बहुत अच्छा कलर पैलेट है. Why don't you use that particular color palette? There must be a reason. Because that particular color was never used in jewelry market. That particular color is very engaging and it is good. And that particular, so जब हम एक color palette पे बात करते हैं, what we actually do is we also check the color codes. हमने क्या किया था मैं बताती हूँ. हमने तनिष्क को पिक किया, हमने जीवा को पिक किया, हमने पाल्मनस को पिक किया, हमने अमामा को पिक किया. There were so many brands that we picked. We picked their primary and secondary color palettes as well. So what we do is हमने देखा सबसे ज़्यादा used color palette was the nude tones. Yeah, exactly. Why? Because they actually make you calm. They feel अच्छा ठीक है. It's very subtle. So that is why that particular that particular color was used. Now, when you select a color, you have to also keep in mind कि उस color से impact क्या होने वाला है. ठीक है? अगर आप Adidas का logo देखोगे, why do they use black? They want to make an impact. Okay? So impact, it has to be that powerful, right? That's why they use that particular color. Okay. Why does McD use yellow?
मैम येलो दूर से दिखता है and red stimulates hunger. So
More clear when you are writing the question.
First, it was like to capture the eyeballs of the customers.
Yeah.
Because they were actually meant for the labor class for the quick response food delivery.
Yeah.
Later on, it became an icon of Golden Crowns. It was named as Golden Crowns, and therefore the legacy has been going on.
Yeah. And today, if I open a QSR, because I'm doing that right now, so I'll tell you, we are actually having a color palette as yellow and red because of McD. Why? Because McD is one of the biggest competitors in a QSR. They are a quick serving restaurant, though they have they're huge. I'm going to have a huge competitor with them. But still, आप उससे कुछ चीजें सीख सकते हैं, आप उससे वो चीजें डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं easily, ठीक है? So what we did was, अब मुझे new tones नहीं pick करने थे, because I did not want to be the basics and like everybody was doing, because वो easily market में available था. What we did was, we picked a color, not purple, not nude, it was sea green and a mix of blue, which was near to purple, which was not nude at all. हमने क्या किया था, nude tones अपनी packaging में include कर दिए. So that is how we changed the game, we played. And अगर आप हमारे reviews पढ़ोगे अमाल्फा के, अमामा के comparison में आपको सबसे ज़्यादा customer satisfaction के reviews मिलेंगे. Why? Because when you open that box, you get a sense of luxury at a very affordable price. So that is the major game changer. So branding में एक part आ गया आपका color, ठीक है? When the color palette is set, आपने primary और secondary tones final कर लिए हमने कि red और yellow करना है मुझे suppose. Now I go with the font style. हर एक industry में एक particular font size चलता है, ठीक है? But you can actually change it anytime if you can play with that particular thing. Fonts एक बार आपने typography decide कर ली, आप एक बार Google पे search करना Adidas की brand guidelines. आप brand guidelines में जब आप study करोगे, can I just open it and show them? So these are the Adidas brand guidelines. So before building a brand, especially a product, a physical product, we actually give a brand guideline kit. आप किसी भी brands के पास जाओगे, उनके पास personalized brand kits होती हैं. We also did that. मैं Adidas की दिखा रही हूँ because ये open है इसमें, ठीक है? So इसमें अब आप contents पढ़ पाओगे, आप इसमें उनकी histories और details पढ़ पाओगे. Plus इसमें जो major factor है मैं आपको दिखाती हूँ. You can see the logo. How do they actually define their logo? So what they do is they give a ratio. आप यहाँ पे x by 3, x by 3, x by 3 देख सकते हैं? Right here.
Yes.
ठीक है? So that is how they've differentiated. कि अच्छा x by 3 पे that is the longest line. Then the second and the first one look like this. These are the old logos. You can't use it anymore. And that is a brand guideline or a brand kit would actually help you and guide you with कि अच्छा एक particular brand में क्या चीजें चल रही हैं. So when you are talking about that, this is all what we do. All right. When we create a brand kit, उसमें हर चीज आती है, typography, the logo style, the logo, the color palette, everything you can see here. All right. अब आप इसकी placements भी देख पाओगे कि ये किस तरीके से, अब इसने देखा अपने यहाँ पे, the logo don'ts. Logo इस तरीके से use नहीं हो सकता हमारा. That is what they are telling in their particular brand guideline kit. All right. And this is the type of typography that they are using. Alternate भी क्या होगा उस typography का, primary क्या होगा, secondary क्या use case होगा, ये सब कुछ matter करता है. ये matter किस चीज के लिए करता है? हर एक चीज के लिए, चाहे आप like anything related to the brand, this has to be taken care of. All right. And like I said, the primary color palette and the secondary color palettes, which are complementing the primary color tones. वो सारी आपकी photography style, उसके applications and the different stylings, whatsoever is the possible option. तो वो सारा कुछ आपके brand में. Right? I hope I answered.
Yeah.
you. Any more questions? Can I just? Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.